Hi, I'm Brent Johnson, and we're still in Dallas, Texas. Today we've come to the campus of Southern Methodist University. Behind me is Dallas Hall, and this is a special place for me because I graduated from this university about 25 years ago. We're here at the original building of the university, but we're going to go down the street to the Owens Fine Arts Center, home of the Meadows School of the Arts, where we'll find Fisk's Opus 101. Now, Fisk has two organs here in Dallas. We've already seen one of them. That's Fisk Opus 100 at the Meyerson Symphony Center downtown. Immediately following it, Fisk then installed this organ, also consulted on by the same professor, Dr. Robert Anderson, who used to teach here at SMU. Stefan Engels is the professor of organ here now, and he will show us all about Fisk's Opus 101. So I'm here at the console of Fisk Opus 101 in Caruth Auditorium. With me is Stefan Engels, professor of organ here at SMU. And you actually have a much longer title than that, correct?
Yes, it's a much longer title. I actually have to think about my titles on the story. Yes, I'm the holder of the Lea Vollenweider Centennial Chair in Music Performance.
Very good. We want to give them full credit for bringing you here.
That's right.
But you and I both went to school here. We were here at the same time. You were a graduate and I was undergraduate. And we both got to experience this organ when it was brand new 30 years ago now.
Amazing.
Which is fascinating.
Almost to the day.
Yeah, right?
Basically. Right?
Because we're dedicating it in 1993.
Yeah.
And I remember those days very well. I remember getting to see this organ for the first time, and it's been fun to come back and remind myself what an amazing instrument this is and what it can do. And so I'm happy to show all of our viewers here what we've got. We have about 53 stops and some 70-something ranks. We'll figure that out later. In 4 divisions, all mechanical action here in the box in front of us in this beautiful case. So where would you like to start in showing off this instrument?
And also, unique about this instrument, the mechanical combination action system.
Oh, right. And we've seen, I should tell for our viewers, there are 2 other Fisk organs we've seen that predate this one that are very similar. We've seen the Buffalo, University of Buffalo, New York, that's Opus 95, and then the Meyerson Opus 100, which predates this one.
Just by a year,
they were just a year apart. And they have some of the similar design things, but they're all unique. But yeah, the combination action is it's mechanical, but we have
It makes some noise.
It does.
Obviously.
It's got to move all of those physical sliders and move all.
But Bob Anderson wanted it.
Yeah.
He wanted something unique. And he wanted people to maybe explore that type of system with contemporary music.
And we should say Bob Anderson, who was your predecessor here, my organ professor and yours, who was responsible for not only the Meyerson but this instrument, being here. So he was a great fan of Fisk in those days. You were talking about that. It works with the pistons. The crescendo pedal also does the same thing. As you open it up. On most organs, the crescendo is blind, but here, this is the only way you can do it, is to physically turn on.
You see it, that's right. Yeah.
Which is kind of amazing to watch.
And so you can't turn it off.
Right.
It's always there.
It's because there's no other way.
There's no other way. Exactly.
Right.
Yeah. So you always see what's coming on, which is actually kind of nice.
Yeah. Well, yeah, of course.
When you play on a German romantic organ by Sauer or something, nothing happens. When you use the Rauschweller.
Oh, right.
You just have the dial in the middle, and you see when it goes up.
It's true of electric action organs anywhere.
Yeah. Right.
So this is truly a mechanical action organ, mechanical stop action that just has that implemented on top of it. And they do that with slider motors. We'll take a look at how they make that work later. But for now, I want to hear some of this and share with our listeners. Where would you like to start with this organ?
Maybe it would be nice to point out the Schnittkos style North German reeds.
Okay.
The Trommeton 8-foot. Very noble sound.
It's nice. It's one of my favorite sounds on this organ.
Yeah, it's just so unique. And then with the 16-foot added, of course, it brings some gravitas into it.
What a great sound.
I would say it's a Schnittkos style tuba.
Oh, okay.
Maybe,
Very good.
maybe.
That's
Just
what
a
they were
different way of
thinking.
looking at it. No?
Well, we have Schnitger reeds, but this is not a North German organ.
That's right.
It's
That's
got
right.
a little bit of everything in it,
Yeah.
correct?
And so then, as a comparison, here are the French cavaquinho type reeds. 8-foot trumpet on the grade. Very brassy.
A lot of fire.
A lot of fire. No, this is for. Again. What a difference. No? Incredible.
Great to have those
Incredible
both.
to have that pair.
And of course, you can mix and match those if you want. If you want a bright 4 and a dark 8.
And you know what is actually also very interesting is that the Tomatin 8 works well in I mean not always, but as an option in the German Romantic crescendo. Once you've added a good amount of foundation stops, 8 and 4, and if you blend it in maybe with like Nazard or the Hautbois, it's almost a little bit like a. You know, like a clarinet type of color from the German Romantic organ. This is quite interesting.
Yeah.
So it's actually very flexible. They can be used in a very flexible way.
Well, it feels like
they work in plenum sounds very well too.
Yeah, with that dark color, you have a lot of space to sort of decorate with other stops.
Yeah,
and
that's
change
right. And even just for example, or even just the Tomatin 8 with the tremulet. Something very special.
Yeah, indeed.
Yeah, the voicing is so
it's really nice.
delicately done.
And I will just point out, you pulled the tremulant, which trims the entire
organ.
So it's
entire
all,
organ.
it's one thing.
Yeah, I mean that you know the organ, you know I mean of course in a certain way it is a French organ, just simply because of the voicing of many of the French type reeds. Like if we later look at the Krummhorn, for example, but of course this organ actually also plays French Baroque music very, very well, and I mean early music in general, and of course so it was the idea then. I mean there were only like I think it was just the Kern organ at University Park Methodist that was already here in town as a European type, big European tracker instrument. And then the Meyerson, and then this one, and so the idea was with the tremulant. I mean, just like big Baroque organs, it's for the whole organ. That was sort of behind it. I mean, not like 3 tremulants, like later. So yeah.
Okay. Well, let's continue to listen to the
continue,
reed and see how that builds up with those reeds.
With the reeds, beautiful here. The very rich the violoncelle.
Bright string.
Yep. The Spielpfeife, which is also in the pedal.
Okay. So you can only turn on one or the other.
One or the other. We are trying to find a little bit of money so we can add another soft 8 foot in the pedal here. So if you have $30,000,
we'll talk about that later.
We'll talk about that later. But beautiful, very, very, very nice Spielpfeife, which can be used in many different ways. Philharmonique.
Yes, lovely.
With 4-foot flute.
We have lots of open flutes in this.
A lot of open flutes. No? On the swell, then the flute traversière, the flute octaviant, of course. Okay. So the foundation stuff. Very nice principle. In comparison to the positive principle.
Yeah, a little smaller, thinner. And now sitting right here, we do have some of the great principal out in the facade, correct?
Yeah, that's right.
And then the press tent is just right above our heads here behind us.
That's right.
So I'm just trying to get an idea where things are. We're trying to remember the grates sort of on the sides.
Yeah, that's
and then
right.
Swell at the top.
Swell at the top, positive in the middle, and then the swell above
Right,
it.
so yeah, it's right here at the console. It's all very present and clear.
Yeah, that's right. Like, as you mentioned, the press tent. So press tent and octave together. Let's build the plenum with 4-foot octave. Two to third. Two-foot added. Progressive mixture, the first mixture.
And then we call now. Explain the mixture here. Instead of having, as some organs do, like a mixture and a cymbal, two mixtures, we have a progressive mixture and a full mixture. How exactly is this functioning?
So the full mixture only works in connection with the progressive mixture.
Okay, so if you
so if you pull just the full,
You're gonna get both.
you're gonna get both. No?
Okay.
But of course you can use the progressive on its own, and the full mixture, 5 to 7 ranks, adds various ranks, beginning at what is that? G3, middle G, middle G, and from here down.
So it broadens the lower end.
Broadens the low end and doesn't bring necessarily brightness to it.
Okay.
So here is in that range. If one wants to add brightness at the top, then it would be appropriate to add the plenum.
Then you bring more down from I see.
The sharp.
So you've already got a certain amount of brightness up here, but you can remove it from the base and.
That's right.
So,
That's right. Yeah.
So for more romantic literature, where you might not want the bass to be screaming away at you.
That's right. Yeah. You wouldn't use it. Yeah.
I see.
Yeah.
All right. So we have we also have a cornet here.
Cornet, mounted cornet up here.
Lovely sound, big and bright. But in addition, then we also have flutes that we can, like a cornet décomposé here, correct?
Yeah, no, we have an independent tierce, and of course the quint, and so we can do a cornet. Let's say we do it without the 2-foot. No? Quite lovely.
Yeah, a little more principal scale, but smaller.
As I'm playing, I'm realizing we don't use this enough. And if we add the 2-foot, yes. Why not?
A completely new option
Yeah,
to the cornet that you might normally
exactly.
When you're called for.
So and then yes, we have a cornet on the positive. We have another cornet on the swell.
One on every
and
manual.
so we have this one too. So we actually have four cornets on 3 manual divisions.
Amazing.
Yeah. Quite good.
Well, and then you can bring the 12th and you brought the 12th into the plenum. You can also bring that tierce in there as well if you want to.
That's right.
Give it a little bite.
A little bite. Yeah, that's right. Although sometimes one has to be a little bit careful with it because remember some Baroque organs have thirds added into the mixture no, as part of the plenum then. No? But of course these are independent stops, and sometimes one has to be a little bit careful with adding a third to a plenum sound, just simply because it adds too much.
It's too big.
It's too big. It's too tierce like. It takes a little bit. It makes the listening sometimes a little bit more difficult.
You get some of the harmonies don't.
Yeah, exactly.
line
You
up
get the
anymore.
exactly.
Right.
So one has to be a little bit careful with that.
That's everything in the grate then.
That's everything on the grate. Yeah.
All right. Well, let's go to the
Positive, no?
which is on the middle keyboard on this one. The
Middle keyboard
is on the bottom in the French style.
And of course, that was back then, 1993. That was a given thing.
Yeah.
Smell positive, great. No?
Well, the couplers make sense too. When you work
there was no positive down here, like a whole camper, so a positive down here or something like that. And especially because we don't have a root positive.
All right.
Very colorful quintadena. Of course, very quinty in the lower range.
That's probably the most quinty.
That's right. Yeah, I think it's a good point. Yeah.
I mean, but it stands alone as a solo stop.
As a solo stop, no?
Or you can blend, I hope, with other things.
With other things, yeah. Yes, usually there are like on the quintadenas on the like whatever mezzo piano level, but this one goes towards the mezzo.
Pretty bold.
Very nice conductum. Forward flute. 8 and 4 together.
And maybe it's just where I'm standing right underneath them, even though they are a bit stepped down from the grate. Those are still, they're pretty in our face. They're not shy.
Yeah.
It is a completely unenclosed positive. Yeah. But again, maybe it's just because I'm a few feet from the pipes. And we're getting a different sound out in the room. Yeah. Okay.
Yes, but yes, they project into the room very well and very clearly.
Okay.
You know, like at the Meyerson, I mean, because of the good acoustics there. You know, I mean, you may sit in the very last row in the Meyerson at the in up under the ceiling, and I mean, and the positive is, I mean, how many feet is that in the Meyerson?
Oh yeah, it's
whatever. I mean, it's miles away, and there you think the positive division is right in front of you.
Yeah.
Especially, it's really incredible how well the positive division for the Meyerson carries into the room.
I can confirm this because those were the only seats I could afford back when I was
that's right.
We're on the back row, so that's where I sat. And yeah.
Lovely Preston.
Yeah.
Italian.
Yeah, a little more speech and a little more presence.
And then building the plenum here with forward. Maybe as a comparison, real quick, to the great plenum. A little more. With 2 foot. And then with sharp.
Strings of mixture on top of that to really brighten it up. So I can see how that's your crown then for the great plenum.
That's right.
If you need even more brightness.
That's right. No?
Okay, I see.
No? And these three mixtures, the progressive, the full, and the sharp, work together very nicely.
Okay.
Yeah. And yes, and that is the intention of the sharp, that it works well with that lower full mixture, and that you get a nice. Yeah, I mean, almost like a Silbermann brightness, like a real pleasant clarity, so to say.
Well, let's hear that. Let's hear the great plenum. And let's just start with the progressive mixture.
Let's do the progressive. Let's do 6 and 4. We'll couple them. We'll couple them together. Let me just do just a little pedal. So we have that. So here we go. That's without. Let's add a 2 to 3rd into it. And plus the full mixture. Here we go. I love that sound.
Yeah,
I love that
it's
sound.
like the size of the great doubles, just as a result of putting that.
It's clear, it's bright, but it has depth.
Yeah, lovely. Right.
Positive mutations.
Yeah, we have a cornet here as well.
Cornet here as well. That's right. No? Very easy, very easy to pull. We talked about the Larigos before we started recording.
Yes.
Yeah. Unfortunately, we don't have one.
No.
But of course, and also, I think also what organ builders forget, sometimes I say it like that in a nice way, forget to build 1 foot octavants.
It's not something we find a lot.
No, of course we have the tool
2 foot
here,
octavant, yeah.
but you don't find it very often anymore.
No.
But on American organs, if you don't have in 1 foot, just simply because of the fact it goes up to C, there's a good amount of literature that you can then play an octavier because you have enough notes.
Yeah, right.
played. On European organs where you don't have a 1 foot, it's hard to do. But on American organs, it works well. It works well. So yes, I like, and of course it has to do with. I mean the many Baroque organs and many late Steinmeier organs have 1 foot stops. All Largo stops, so forth. And of course, things like the known or the seventh have been completely lost.
Unless the instruments get to be really
That's
big
right,
for
of
some
course,
reason.
yeah.
That's they're when they're running out of money, or running out of ideas to do with the money.
That's right. But talking about it wrong like this.
Sure,
But of course, everything is not possible. So maybe there was a choice between the Tomatin 16 and the Largo.
Very
Who
true,
knows?
very
I don't know. No? But also, like for example, for gap registrations, 8 and the tiers. Jean Alain.
It's lovely.
Das ist gut. Yeah.
Of course, yes. And it's funny you would mention Alain, because Marie-Claire Alain came and played this organ when it was new, and she and Bob Anderson were friends and shared a lot of ideas. So it's possible maybe there's some of that French influence coming in there and something like that. But then we would expect maybe to see Largo in a 1 foot. I don't know.
Yeah, right. And I remember playing in a masterclass for her on this organ, and I remember playing the Tradance. Bob Anderson assigned to me, Stefan, you must play the Tradance when Marie-Claire is here. And that at the end of the first dance, that very difficult section with the da ta 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 is at the end of the, I forget which dance it is. And you have like 14 against 8 or 7 whatsoever, and it was very difficult to do. No? And I remember Marie-Claire telling me, Stefan, just make sure it's approximately, it lines up approximately. It doesn't have to be as is the way it's written on the score. Just approximately will be good enough.
Oh,
I said, thank you very much. That's comforting to know. I mentioned the French Baroque, no? Like a petite gorgeux, for example, no? With the common and the octave, and let's say the 2 foot doublet, and maybe like this. Or even with the Dulcian.
So we have a 16-foot Dulcian and 8-foot Krummhorn, both cylindrical reeds, I'm guessing?
Yes, that's right.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, they give us a nice Baroque sort of sound in our reeds there. Okay.
No? Just in comparison to the pleasure.
Yeah.
That's right. We haven't gotten to the Dulcian 16-foot. Yes. Also, is a stop that can be used in a very flexible way, similar to the Tomatin 8 on the grade, what we talked about earlier. This one may work well will work very well in a plenum, in a piece of Weckmann or Swilling, no? As a
Gives you a lot of growl, but it's not too heavy a bass.
That's right. And it has that color, just the right color. And then the big come on, no, really has something.
It's lovely, nice big sound there.
Really, yes, it has
heroic
to say,
Krummhorn,
heroic
right?
Krummhorn, yeah. And then our beautiful Trichterregal. Maybe with the tremulant and an accompanying, like a different stop.
It's amazing. I almost get an orchestral oboe
Yeah,
color.
yeah, that's right, that's right.
And Trichter, meaning funnel, so the reeds are they have a conical top. But these are not. I've seen some American builders attempt this idea. They're usually really skinny regals with a big wide.
Yeah.
This is something very different, and the sound is very different. I think it's much more useful.
Yeah. And the acoustics here in the Caruth Auditorium are a little bit, I should say, they're not as clear as the Meyerson. They can be just a little bit muffled, and it's a fairly wide auditorium, and so the sound goes to the side. And so, yes, Trechterregal, if someone's, with this kind of sound with the tremulin, someone half asleep, sitting in the last row, you think I was almost an Eamskid. Almost.
No French horn, but okay.
No French horn. No, not yet. No, not quite there, but almost.
All right.
Yeah, I mean, and even just like tutti, no positive.
A great sound.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that's everything on this side of the organ. So now we go over to your left side where we have the swell and the pedal. Let's start with the swell. Tell me about the swell. Again, in a box directly in the front of the organ, but above our heads.
That's right.
So singing out over our heads.
Yeah.
And it's all metal pipes. There's no wood in there, is there?
I don't think so.
Yeah.
That's right, all metal pipes.
I think so.
And I should say that yes, this organ has, despite its many qualities, sometimes it has a little bit of the rotation that it can be maybe a bit forceful because the room is not so big.
Right.
And so, and yes, I mean, it's not a secret, and we can talk. I mean, an organ is a piece of art. Yeah, and I mean, and so I mean, it is created in a certain spirit. And with certain philosophical ideas behind it. Yeah? I mean, imagine we would start, changing music scores, just because we don't like certain notes or certain chords or something like that. No? Anyway, but so what we, as you were talking about the swell, about 2 or 3 years ago, to make the organ just a little bit, I should say, just less present in the room, we removed the walls. The reflection walls of the positive and the grate. So now we have about I would say about 15% less projection of the positive and the grate division into the room because we took
just there were just walls.
So yeah, that's right. Yeah, so there's more sound that stays inside. And that doesn't go out. And it actually really helped.
Okay, we just get it to blend a little better.
Exactly. And in order to match that, we couldn't do it with the swell, of course. What we did is we the swell shutters at the top, swell shutters to the side, both sides,
they're on the
and
side.
the top. The ones at the top are always closed.
Oh, okay.
So we just have the swell shutters to lower the amount of And so that worked very well. We just have to be just a little bit more careful now because we couldn't do anything about the pedal. We have to just be a little bit careful with the balance to the pedal.
Okay.
But I mean that's something that can be worked out very, very easily with registration. Of course,
See,
no?
all right.
So yeah.
Minor adjustments.
Minor adjustments. No.
I mean, after 30 years, some ideas come up that maybe we can balance things a little better.
I think the. It's actually the softest stop on this organ. Flûte traversière, one of my favorite stops in Dallas.
Yeah, lovely. Huh.
You can practice on it for
I can see that.
at least 2 hours. Flûte octaviante, overblowing.
color. And then
Octave, maybe as a gap registration with Tavassier.
so 8 and 4, A4 and 2 all open and harmonic, like we might find in a French organ.
Yeah. And the just with those three stops, as you're playing, opening the swell box, the effect in the room is wow! Is just simply because they're all overblowing. It's really closed.
It's quite a difference.
No?
That's amazing.
No, when you open up. Wahoo man. Mm-hmm.
Okay, good appropriate sound.
Works very well with whatever French literature, but it also actually works very well with Kakelat.
Oh,
Yeah, it's quite good. Mm. Even with the 4-foot Auditorium.
yeah, lovely.
Celeste.
So 61 notes Celeste going all the way down to the bottom. Lovely.
And very string-like principle 4. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's almost like a Fugara.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Of course, not totally, but still.
Very similar. Huh.
You know, the organ has its own temperament.
It does. This organ is.
It's the Fisk temperament.
Okay.
I don't know the
I don't either.
absolute details, but it's the Fisk temperament.
Something to find out. Who knows
Something
what
to find
Fisk,
out.
The
No?
Fisk temperament.
No, it is playing that, or maybe playing it with an 8-foot. I mean, you can just playing the chords chromatically. You can even better with just a.
Little things change.
Nice.
Yeah.
It's nice. But I'm not sure about this country, but in Europe, more and more organ builders tend to tune the new instruments.
Mm.
You know, in you know. Yeah, I mean, not of course, not mean tone
No.
or like Werkmeister 1 or 2, but things like the Velody temperament has become very popular.
Well, I have to say, and some of the builders we've seen recently that are building more historically informed instrument are using. I see maybe on the inside door there's a little note about what the temperament is supposed to be.
Oh, I see.
And the other builders like Fisk have their own, temperaments they build, or they've borrowed from something like Velody and changed it just a little.
Yeah,
So it's
right.
hapa in America, but not as widely probably as in Europe. But
Yeah, and then 4-rank mixture with the gamba, maybe with the Baudon. Close.
it's amazing.
Maybe just maybe added in the oboe. Maybe the oboe by itself for a moment.
let's
Yes,
do
no?
that first.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's a fairly bold oboe, especially down towards the bottom.
Yeah.
Almost a little bit of a trumpet character
Yeah.
to it.
No, as it get. Yeah.
But up top, it's very, very thin and very pretty. Okay.
And maybe for the listener, fun to just hear the three reeds.
there's a lot of French in that box up there.
Yeah,
Although
yeah,
the
that's
reeds
right.
and the stops, they're
That's
all
right. That's right.
blues. They're
Yeah.
amazing.
And so yes, I mean the fold swell, something like this.
Oh,
It fills the hall.
it does.
It really fills the
That's
hall.
Just
no?
those.
Yeah,
those range from
just
the
that.
swell.
No?
Wow.
Yeah. The cornet.
Yeah, and we have a cornet here as well.
Can you hear as well? So 3 rings, so just with 8 and 4.
Yeah, how nice to have those contrasting sounds there.
Yeah.
Okay, well that's pretty much everything in the swell there. So there we go down to the pedal, which is where a lot of the power in this organ
On the organist,
sits,
that's
yeah.
right.
Now
that's
it is
right.
not a huge pedal division because a lot of things are actually borrowed from the great.
But from the great, the violoncelle
Yeah.
is borrowed.
And if you have, as we said earlier, if you've got one on in one division, you can't have.
You
them
can't
both
have
on.
those. No, yeah.
Okay.
And then also the Spielpfeife here, and also the Trommetenate here.
Okay.
No?
But the Trommetin 16 is independent.
The Trommeten 16 is independent.
Okay. Correct. So we have 2 of those.
Yeah. So yeah, just like on the great Trommetin 16 8, we have Trommetin then 16 and of course 8 here as well. And pedal plenum, Baroque pedal plenum with those. No?
Yeah.
Quite nice. With the mixture.
And then we have our big reed.
A big reed, but very big.
Very big.
It's very big, very big.
It's called a bombard at 16.
About 16, no?
Yeah, okay.
And it adds so much. No?
Yeah.
I mean, when you come to the climax in Vierne or so, and you need to have something more, just adding that will do the job for you. You don't have to do anything else. No? Yeah.
And then it continues down, though.
It continues down. That's right. With our Posaune.
Very nice. Very effective.
Very effective. Oh, I forgot. I think the trumpet, the French trumpet, is
Oh, okay.
also borrowed.
So you can
from
have that sound on top of the
so,
bombard
yeah.
if you need a really big.
And the same with the clarinet.
Okay. All right, so those French reeds are available.
French reeds. I mean, so when you play, whatever Guido or Dupré, no, and yes, and you have the great two pedal coupler on, and that's one of the reasons why the bombard is so big. Once you have these on, and you have the great two pedal, and you want a climax, all you need to do is just grab that. That's. I mean, the organ is supposed to work like that.
Okay.
No? Yeah.
There's one other. We have a independent contrabass. Is that correct? 16.
Oh, very nice, yeah.
To the Unters.
Sounds a little bit like ooh here at the concert, but in the room, it's actually very, very nice. Almost think of like a if you think of an aeolian scanner from the 1940s, 1950s, one of those. It has something.
It's big open wood.
Yeah, open wood. That's right. I was going to think of the name. Lovely Preston. The violoncelle.
It can almost be a solo when you need it.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. No, yeah. No, can work very nicely. No? If you have like a accompaniment on the celeste or so. And we had the plenum.
And then the Untersatz.
And then the Untersatz, right here, the Untersatz. Yes, which I think works. But it's just the right volume to add.
Right, it's the effect. It's shaking the room, but it's
shaking
not
the
loud.
room.
It's a soft but powerful stop.
Yeah, that's right.
That's
that's
interesting.
right. No? Yeah, it's just right for the room. No? And I think that's really all. We don't have a sequencer.
Yeah, there's a few things about the design of this
yeah.
organ that I have retained. One is we have a crescendo off, which is, I think I know of 2 organs in the world that have this, and I might play the other one. Because the swell and the crescendo are not AGO standard, they're a little separate. So it's really easy to bump the crescendo, so you can just disable it.
Yeah. Extremely helpful.
But here's the thing I like. If you open the crescendo, and there's a display to tell you if you're halfway up, you can use the crescendo off and on to turn off the crescendo pedal, but then you can turn it back on and wherever you left it.
Wherever you left it, that's right.
So you can almost use that as a registrational aid to say, oh, I'm ready to have it loud, and then bring it back down. So that's an interesting feature.
It basically functions like a Rothschiller on a German writing organ.
Oh, okay.
Where you can also turn the Rothschiller on and off.
Right.
And then you can so easily then combine it with whatever stops you have you have on. And it's the same here.
Well, because as I recall, if you got the crescendo pedal on and you hit a general, and then you turn the crescendo off, it will have changed the generals. So if you press general 9 or something, and then while the crescendo's on, because a lot of American organs don't work this way, and then you turn it off, it will leave you with whatever 9 was.
That's correct.
Even though it might have been something else when you started the crescendo. So
It's working in addition.
Yeah.
The German word is additiv.
So and a lot of American control systems don't do that.
Exactly.
So that's what's interesting.
So often it's the case here that the crescendo is not supposed to work in connection, in collaboration, in conjunction with a piston, but it's the opposite on the German writing organ, and it's the same here.
Yeah, because a lot of the crescendo pedal, it turns on. First thing it does, it turns on a light, but then it also essentially turns off everything else, so you don't get any conflicts. So that's kind of a neat little function to have.
Yeah.
And also, this has 20 generals, and 5 of them are over here on the right side, which is not standard American design either. And I really like that because you never know when you're going to want a general over here when your left hand's busy.
I mean, often, one place in this range here, it's very, very convenient.
It's just very smart design.
We use them all the time. No? Yeah.
Well, and we haven't talked about this yet. This organ has a servo-pneumatic lever, which is a Fisk specialty. Tell me about the lever and how it works.
Yes, it's this machine. One should really say machine that just simply makes the touch slider. Okay. So when you couple swell to grate, you can feel it. I mean, it's a good resistance. Pretty. And with this, Fisk invention, one can say. It really makes the touch comfortable.
Oh yeah, and it's the same touch. So whatever I'm doing with this key is
that's
moving
right.
at the same speed.
That's right. That's the same speed.
We've seen one of these at the Meyerson. They have
that's
one
right.
as well. And we saw actually in Charlestown a Barker machine, which is what most people would think of this.
Yeah, that's right.
An English instrument that was brought into French organs, and we saw one in Charlestown, Massachusetts, and that's apparently where Fisk studied and learned a bit about how to. But theirs is very different in that it follows the key action. It's not just a lever to help you play. So if you've got all the manuals coupled together, and you've got a bunch of stops on, it's going to be very heavy.
That's right.
And this makes the action go. So it's doing the work for you.
It's doing the work for you.
You're doing the music. The machine's doing the work.
And of course, it is also for the positive to the grate.
Still works there too.
Works there too. But of course, not for the swell. Not for the swell to the positive. It's just for the grate.
Okay. So if you did want to couple the swell to the positive, you could put them on the grate and play it down there on the machine.
That's right. That's right. Yeah, if you want to. No? Yeah.
Okay. We'll have to look at that.
And I actually had Fisk make an adjustment to the resistance. It used to be very light. Once you had it pulled out, the touch used to be very, very light. And it was almost too light.
Oh.
Yeah, and so we made it less light.
Interesting.
So the difference now between playing with it and without it is a little bit less than it used to be.
So you still want a little bit of resistance.
Yeah, that's exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's so I really didn't want for this type of organ that has such a wonderfully responsive tracker action. I didn't want for this organ to have, once you have it pulled out, that it feels like you're playing on an electro-pneumatic action.
Yeah.
It was just too light.
And mentioning you could put the swell to positive, you have a grate off.
We have a
disconnects the grate from the machine.
From the machine,
so you could play the positive and swell through that if you want.
Yeah, this kind of function may seem old-fashioned, but it's actually very useful.
Oh, sure.
To
and then you can use it as a bring on your grate without.
That's right. That's right. Having to change.
We have octave grave, so we do have a subcoupler.
No, only works with the
only with the machine.
Only with the machine.
Okay, so you can couple everything down, and just because super and subcouplers are rare on mechanical action, we do have a swell to pedal 4.
And a 4.
That we can use to bring some of those solo colors down.
Very, very helpful.
So yeah, a lot of little flexibility.
Yeah, that's right.
Just a few things, but they add so much flexibility to the instrument. So.
Yeah. Without having a whole palette of super
rail
the whole rail, just as a few things
can
just on an organ like that, where every single stop has such wonderful and distinctive voicing and adds so much to the sound, So in that connection, it really makes a difference to have some of those things. No? Mm-hmm.
Well, Michael Kraft, president of CB Fisk, is actually here, and I think we're going to take a look through the organ and he'll have to show us around and see if we can see it there.
Excellent.
Somewhat unique thing, I think, not every organ has it, but is the ability to go between somewhat flexible wind and a more steady wind. That is on this knob over here. Depending on the instrument, sometimes we have wind stabilizer off or flexible wind, and sometimes it's the reverse, depending on the instrument. On a bigger instrument like this, the default is usually a steadier wind. So if you're playing earlier music with smaller flute combinations, you can pull the wind stabilizer off, which essentially deactivates a winker, a large winker that normally takes up some of the shock of the wind. So when you disengage it, it gives you a more lively sound, especially for lighter combinations, and somewhat the big plenum sound in Germanic music. It allows for a more live wind system. So going back to the 80s, there was we knew that we were going to build the organ at the Meyerson Symphony Center, and of course Robert Anderson was the consultant for that job, but we were looking at building what was going to be our first large symphonic instrument and how to deal with that on a mechanical action instrument. So at that time, the servo-pneumatic was developed in our shop, which is essentially a more sensitive version of a Barker lever. In other words, I can demonstrate a little bit here, and we can also do it inside. But normally on the coupled organ, of course, the action's a little bit heavy right now because I have all 3 manuals on. But of course, when you're playing mechanically, the key only goes down as fast as you depress it. And the same with the release. So normally with electric coupling or a Barker, they all make the action easier to play, but the unique thing about the servo-pneumatic lever is that it also tracks the motion of your finger. So it allows you to maintain that control over the speech and the release of the note, allowing more sensitivity. We'll look at this a little bit later, but in the towers here is the pedal trombone, which is actually an electro-pneumatic stop. So we're entering the lower case of the instrument now. Here, of course, we have all the combination system, the solid state organ SSOS system. This here is, these are both electro-pneumatic stops. This is an independent pedal bombard, which frankly there was nowhere else to put it. So we put it here and made it electro-pneumatic, as is the extension of the 16-foot trombone. In the back there is the 32-foot octave, the contraposona. This is the shallot motor tongue of low C of the 32-foot posona. It's a old German style, a Schnittger, Arpschnittger style shallot, very big in diameter, the shallot, and with a heavy lead plate and some leather on the surface. So we're on the back side of the console now, and you can see the stop jams are up at that end, and this is all the mechanical linkages in the stop action going on and off. And you can see an example here. Most of these are up at the wind chest, but these are the solenoids that are piggybacked onto this mechanical action, so that, again, which allows you to have this modern combination system. And of course, over here is the central nervous system of the organ, the coupler stack, all the various trackers coming out from the tail of the key. Back of the keyboards are here, and these are all the various couplers going up there. So this is the servo-pneumatic machine. All of the action, all of the coupled action runs through this machine. It actually takes up a little bit more room than a traditional Barker machine. But this machine is, there's a pneumatic for all 61 notes, and they're stacked so that it's at key scale. So this is the input side of the machine. You can hear the pneumatic operating. But again, if the key is going down at that speed or released at that speed, we'll see from the other side that the pneumatic actually follows that motion. So as I operate the input side of the servo-pneumatic machine, again, if I were to play the key very slowly, you can see that the pneumatic also deflates and pulls the action slowly, and the same with the release, which is actually probably a more useful usage of it to maintain a slow release. It's good for chordal effects, especially. You can really get that kind of surge of wind going through it. So unlike a Barker machine, this is all enclosed in a pressurized box. So that's necessary to create this servo action. What we have back here are the pedal bases, again on electro-pneumatic action. The pipes that are painted brown are the 16-foot open wood, contrabass I think it's called on this instrument. And the lacquered ones to the left are well, what you're looking at there is the treble of the 32-foot Untersatz. The bigger ones are in the back there, which are, if we go up high enough, we'll be able to see the stoppers in those pipes. So we're up in the next level, one level up from the ground floor. In the center, we have the unenclosed positive division, and to either side of it, and a little bit lower, we have each side of the grate, the C side of the grate and the sharp side. These pipes are drawn from various traditions. We used to call it eclectic until that became a bad word, but it's really the careful putting together of different sounds from different traditions to create a new whole. So you'll see a lot of somewhat Germanic kinds of flutes and Fiskian principles, mostly drawn from the German traditions. But in the other direction, you'll also see the presence of some harmonic flutes, and the reeds in particular. What you have here is a 16-foot, well, we'll call this A above middle C. This is a 16-foot Schnitger type reed, and this is the corresponding note to a counterpart to that, an 8-foot German Schnitger type reed. So we have some, actually these are more 18th century style French reeds, an 8-foot and a 4-foot. So we have 16 and 8 Schnitger reeds, 18th century, and 8 and 4 18th century French reeds. But you can also combine these sounds to, create your own new soundscape, depending on if you're playing some modern music and you're trying to create different combinations of sounds. Another thing we haven't talked about is the lack of a large independent pedal division. We saw the basses downstairs. For the economy of numbers of stops, this organ has only a few independent pedal stops, the 8-foot principal, 4-foot principal, and mixture. And those are on the great chest. The great chest has double pallets because a lot of the pedal stops are drawn from the grate. But we felt it was important to have the core 8-4 mixture as independent from the grate. The positive division is the same idea, some mixture of older German elements and actually older French and some modern French, or modern meaning 19th century. It's easiest to see on the reeds. Again, we have a 16-foot Dulcian, which is a cylindrical reed, kind of a subdued crumhorn, which adds a wonderful deep Germanic tone to the plenum and can also be used in other contexts, played up an octave as a solo voice. We have a Trektorregal, which is more of a 17th century, even Germanic color stop, and a French crumhorn. So again, we're combining elements from different periods of organ building, which was pretty common for these bigger instruments, especially in the 90s and early 2000s. So the original installation called for the presence of back panels, both on the grate and the positive. And I don't recollect the exact reason, but I'm sure one of the reasons was the ability to have the pedal basses speak out better. But at least in retrospect, I can see the advantage of creating a more a romantic concept instead of having such a shallow case, to have a deeper case and letting the sound develop inside the case before it goes out into the room. That's a bit more of a 19th century concept. I think the initial reason was probably to help the basses get out. This is an extension of the stop action that we saw downstairs with the wood traces coming up to some steel rollers, which eventually get you to another trace up above there. If you can see that one moving, you can see the trace then coming up from the roller, and you can also see the solenoid, which is, again, piggybacked onto the mechanical action. So normally, that would be the normal place for a solenoid if it were purely electric stop action. But in this case, it's working the other way. The mechanical action is turning the solenoid on. The action to the swell shades is also mechanical, so this is a balanced pedal and system, so that it can be moved easily, but it doesn't keep going because it's balanced after you stop moving the pedal. So you can see it has the ability to stop. So giving you really fine control over the movement of the shades. Instead of with an electric stop action, you'd have many, many stages where the shades would just kind of jump from one position to the other, but this gives you the ability to really open and close gradually. You have complete control. they're painted black, so you can't see them from out in the hall, but the lowest few notes of the 32-foot contrapposauna are hooded. So we're up at the swell level now. This has become kind of a Fisk trademark, the three-sided swell, meaning shades on three sides. The chest is oriented with the bases in the back and the trebles in the front. Practically speaking, it allows you to nestle the swell into the layout, especially when you have limited headroom where you can't completely stack divisions. It allows you to nestle the swell this way into the trebles of the division below, but it also affords you the opportunity to really maximize the shade area. So there's shades on both sides and the front, which just gives you the even more range of dynamic. Another very important thing is the thickness of the box. It's 1.5 inches thick, and how the profile that's cut on these shades is very important because it's a profile that's also felted. So when it's closed, you really have the tiger in the cage kind of effect, with the thickness of the box preventing sound from coming out, and the very tight fit of the shades when they're closed. Another Fisk feature is that we often have what would be called a graduated shade action. Not that they're all opening individually like on a Wurlitzer or something like that, but the fact is that there's a lot of change in the sound when you're at the console and you move the pedal just a little bit from closed to cracked open. You get a big jump, and so we've found a way to smooth that over and give you more control at the beginning by allowing the first couple, 2 or 3 shades on each side to open first. So slowing down that crescendo from completely closed to, there's such a huge difference when you open the shades just a crack, that allowing a couple to open a little bit early really has a tremendous effect at the beginning of the motion. Unlike the mixture of styles that we were talking about in the great and positive, the swell, more than anything, is more purely based on 19th century French cavaille-colle examples. The harmonic 8/4-2 chorus of harmonic flutes, the trumpets, the 16, 8, and 4 are cavaille-colle type shallots, as opposed to earlier French shallots, which we saw in the great reeds downstairs. So there we're looking at the low C of the 32-foot Untersatz, low C over the largest brown painted pipe, is low C of the 16-foot Contrabass. That's the mounted cornet of the great we're looking at there. Very large scale flutes from middle C up. Yeah, so this is the 16-foot Posauna. Again, it's also the great 16-foot reed, but it's in the pedal tower.
Stefan, thank you so much for reminding me about this great instrument. It's like coming back home to see this, but also I've learned a bunch about it. I'm coming back with 30 years of experience and other organs I've seen to see what a great job Fisk did and what a great training instrument this is. This must be fantastic to teach on.
Absolutely, yeah.
Because you've just got so many different time periods and regions that you can bring so much music to. So
very versatile instrument, and the students can really learn.
So I'm glad you're here back in the bench at SMU in Dallas teaching. And this year we're celebrating 30 years since this instrument went in. We had a great concert Sunday night with some fantastic alumni from SMU, and it was great to just sit and listen to these people do wonderful things with this instrument, and it's been great to see it. So my thanks to Michael Kraft and everybody at CB Fisk, Nami Hamada, who is here helping get everything ready for the concert, and everybody who was part of that concert. Benjamin Kolodje, who was my classmate, he was a year behind me, has written a fantastic book.
The history of organs and organists at SMU.
Right, so it details, and there was so much that none of us knew that he has unearthed about this department. So our congratulations to Benjamin on the great book. There is a link down below in the description if you'd like to get a copy of it. I read it, it's a wonderful book. Stefan here is the next generation of what's happening at this wonderful university. So it's great to see. There's a link to the specification of this organ down in the description as well, so you can find that. If you like the tour we've gotten of this instrument, please give us a thumbs up. And if you'd like to find out more about SMU, there's certainly links down in the description to that as well. For now, this is the last instrument we are visiting here in Dallas, so thank you for helping bring us down here and for the wonderful time we've had. And until our next videos are out, remember, subscribe to our channel so that you can see when the next videos are out and click the bell for notifications, because we will have some more coming out this winter. Thank you again, Stefan. This has been fantastic. I'm Brent Johnson. Thank you for watching.